Good evening. This is Maurice Dionne again. I have episode 3 coming up. I figure I've got a little story to tell you of an actual incident. I just cannot go into all the particular details, but I can tell you a good part of it. It happened in the state of Florida. We were retained to do a certain job. It involved using a 50-foot yacht that we had, and we were going to be going out into the ocean, some probably 50, 60 miles away. Now, a lot of this was confidential at the time, and only a few people knew that we were going to do this particular mission. However, somebody must have known something. And that morning, I remember we got in a boat, in the yacht, ship, and we left the harbor and started sailing across. And we were out probably some 40 miles. And we had everything on autopilot, and there were just a couple of us. And I noticed that I had gone back down in the ship to get something to drink, I believe, and I noticed water in the back, in the master bedroom, which there should be no water there, and there was. I came up on deck, told my partner, we're taking on water. He ran down right away, and we looked, sure enough. And it was difficult to find out where the water was coming because the entire bottom of the yacht was in water. It being an autopilot, it was running normal, everything seemed normal while we were on deck. So at this point in time, we had to look for help to try to get somebody to come and do something with the yacht, pump it out. During the daytime, we kept hearing the radio, people talking on the radio back and forth. So my partner got on the radio and started making some distress calls to let them know that we were in big trouble and we needed help. No one responded. We tried this for probably some 15 minutes. And no one ever responded to us at all. And we were yelling, Mayday, Mayday, we need help. And using our code numbers. And no response. In the meantime, more and more water is coming in the boat. So at this time, we had to make some decision what we were going to do. So the decision was made to hang in as long as we can and keep trying with the radios. Well, we started to have trouble with the motors. It was twin motors in it. One motor let go. We were down to one other motor. And we determined whether should we keep going forward or backwards. Forwards was bringing us into Cuba, which we knew if we arrived in Cuba, we would be in big trouble. So the decision was made to try to turn around. But we decided not to. Well, before we know it, we took on an adequate amount of water that we had to bail out. We got into a 2-man raft, and we were in the water for 7 hours before we were rescued by a Greek shipping liner. It was called Mana, M-A-N-A, I'll never forget the name. And they picked us up, brought us on board, and said that the Coast Guard was going to come and pick us up with a helicopter. Never happened. We ended up getting picked up by a boat like an hour and a half later. It was a drug-running boat that picked us up and brought us back to shore. And that was pretty much the end of that episode. So I will try to come up with some new episodes in the future. I have a few more things to tell you about what it's like to be a retired private investigator. Thank you and good night.